Hi everybody. Going to do a quick review and tear down on this ESDDI LED photo and video light. I picked this up to help improve my videos. I'm obviously not using it at the moment. I'm using my supplemental light setup, and it's not bad, but this really worked out well. My last wireless outlet video utilized this light, and I was really impressed with the setup, the color of the light, and how easy it was to use. So I figured I'd share it with you all. First off, let's check the manual. Pretty basic manual. You really don't need to know much to set one of these up, but it did have a few, well, just like a couple little things that were nice to see. Here's the information from the SD team. Dear esteemed customer, so on and so forth. Don't get it wet, don't throw it at children, don't eat it, I guess, don't get naked. Oh, no, don't look at it with naked eyes. Oops. Then we have the product info. Probably is about 40 watts. I don't have a kilowatt to check the current draw, but when I had it up, I would be willing to bet it's probably using about that. They do claim 4,000 lumens. I may test that at some point. I, of course, don't have my lumen meter here, but I could do that at some point. The color temperature is nice. It's adjustable from 3200 to 5600. Gives you kind of a nice cool white to warm white and a bunch in between. I ran it on the warmer side and was very happy with it, you know, closer to 3200 or so. And then on this side they explain the controls. You have some vents to let the heat out, the hot boots card mouth. That should probably say cold shoe mouth. It's not a hot boot, it's a cold shoe, but we'll go over that a little bit later. But I like how they call it hot boots card mouth though. Sounds like a good name for a band. And then here are the accessory list. This is what they call the hot shoe. It's really not. There's no electrical connections through it. Hot shoe would have power or something going through it as far as I'm aware. I'm not a photography specialist, but I did dabble at one point, at least to learn enough words to make it sound like I know what I'm talking about. So hot shoe, this is not. I'm pretty sure it's a cold shoe. I'll show you, and anybody who's a real photography person can confirm that or correct me. Then we have the folding bracket, or tripod I guess we could call it. It gets pretty tall. It got taller than I could get to the camera, so I was impressed. And then it has the gooseneck easy bending bracket. It's so you can, you know, just get a little more flexibility about where the lamp can end up. And then the packing list: ring light, power cord, phone clip plus hot shoe, package, the folding bracket, and I don't know what a hose. Hose. I wonder what hose is. I didn't see anything that I would consider a hose in there, unless they mean this rubber stuff, which who knows what the hose is. Oh, then we have it in German. Let's see. The heiße Stiefel Kartemund. I like that. So anyway, let's look at the light. We'll get to the stand in a bit. So first things first, let's unzip the package. The what do they call it? Can't believe I forgot already. The come on, Frank. The package. Yeah, I was right. I'm unzipping its package. Package. So there's the light, and there's the flexible gooseneck mount. You can see it has a screw, thumb screw kind of thing for clamping it to the stand. And then the power cord. It's a nice long power cord. It's, I don't know, let's see. I'm 9.5 foot tall. So yeah, this is about as tall as me. So it's about what, 3 meters? So yeah, because I'm almost 3 meters tall in American. That was a joke, by the way. And here is the light itself. We'll use the package as a work surface so I don't scrape up the lens. You can see it's got a nice diffuser on there. Oh, and this is the hot boot. So they called it the warm boot, hot boot, something or other. Hot boot card mouth. So here's the hot boot card mouth, which again is not a hot shoe at all. There's no electrical connections. This, I believe, again, is technically a cold shoe, which is, which is perfectly fine. That's all you need. Unless you have a whole camera set up, and then I guess you could put a hot shoe in there. But most of the time, I use my my phone to record, and this is the S10 Plus, and I will put it in the cold shoe like that, and then I can aim it and do whatever I need to do, and it holds it really well. That spring is super strong, and the plastic's pretty good. And even if this broke, you could replace it really easily. Like if the spring's broke and it wasn't grabbing the phone anymore, this piece disconnects. I guess this is the shoe, the boot sole, and you could screw something else on top, which would work fine. You could even put a camera directly on here. I am using the camera right there, but it's screwed in to one of these fellows as well. So you get the idea. And having these included is really nice. I mean, the light by itself is perfectly, it's perfectly adequate. So we could, just use it like this and it would be fine. But the fact that they give you some extra mounting points, you could, if you had to, I guess you could mount that to a tripod. We'll pretend the boot is a tripod mount, and let's check. Yeah, those are no, those are not quarter 20. I wonder what threads those are. They're for something. They look like they might be metric. They're a little tighter. Yeah, because that doesn't screw in. But that will screw in here. Yeah. So the shoe adapter can go in a couple spots. That would be one way you could have your camera or phone that way. I will be using it in the future just the way it was from the factory, because that worked out really well. So I'll leave that on there. Just get that locked into place. Then we have the light itself. Oh, I see what those holes are for. The bracket on the bottom, you can see it has a screw there and a screw there. And going by the spacing in between, no. I thought maybe this could be mounted here, and maybe it can, or maybe it's just for another mount altogether. In fact, if any of you all know why those two threads are there, then let me know. There's nothing on here. Yeah, there's nothing in there that explains those. So, mystery threads, I assume for some kind of mount, probably for a mount, again, that's not here at the moment. Could probably put one of these screws in there and do it that way, but I'm going to leave it alone. Then we have our info on the back. There's the SD information sticker. 360 LEDs in there, and I believe it. When I turn it on, you'll really see. They do claim it's rose compliant, so that means it's full of silver solder, which I don't like, but it's good for the environment. Then we have our controls. We have brightness on the right, and then color temperature on the left. Oh, and we actually have another hot shoe, or hot shoe, no, I'm calling it that, a cold shoe mount on the top. I just noticed that. So in theory, or technically in practice, you could just slide that hot boot, or the warm boot, I'm going to call it. I'm going to start calling it the warm boot, even though that's totally wrong. It's going to drive my wife nuts. But we could mount it in the top. That's cool. I'm going to remember that, because I could put maybe do 2 cameras at once. Different angles, close up, far away, edit back and forth. Ooh, getting ideas now. Alright, so before I diverge further, let's fire this up before we tear it down. Because like everything I buy, I have to take it apart. Can't leave it together. You have to take it apart at least once. So it's plugged in, and I'm going to turn off that light. I'm going to leave the other light on for now, just so we can see. But let's turn it on. Alright, so you get the idea. I'm going to keep it pointed away so it doesn't flood the camera. But let's set the manual underneath so that you can see the color of the light as I change the temperature. So right now the light is set at 10%. That's 100%. We'll stay at 10. And it seems like it isn't controlling exactly when you turn the knobs. There must be a microcontroller maybe, or some capacitors that are smoothing that transition. So now to change the color temperature, we're going to go down to the 3200. Yeah, so we're down to 3200 Kelvin now, and you can see it became much more of a warm white. We'll turn that brightness up. This is more like an incandescent, you could say. And then as I go this way, it gets a little more like a fluorescent. In the middle is kind of like a daylight color, and then to the other side is more of a cool white. You know, usually I prefer it about here, not quite at 3200. You know, maybe, I don't know what that is, maybe 4000 or so. But it's nice having the option, and I can set my white balances depending on, you know, how I have this set. So it's, you know, it's nice. And the knobs feel good. Knobs are nice and smooth. There's some sort of, not detent, but something that gives them a little bit of a smooth drag. You know, you can really just turn them a little bit and they'll stay wherever you put them at their position. And then the mount, we'll look at the mount. Put that cord out of the way. The mount has multiple positions. You could go directly to the top of the stand if you wanted, or when I use it, I tend to use the gooseneck adapter, and you loosen that thumb wheel up, that slides in, just stops right there, and then you just tighten the thumb wheel down, really tighten it down. Strong plastic, you know, you don't want to obviously go too hard and break it, but that really feels like glass fiber reinforced, maybe polycarbonate. Has like a almost like a glass, not glass, like a metal feel to it. Rings when you tap it. Let me turn this other light back on. But let's see if it's glass fiber. No, no glass fiber, just heavy plastic. We'd hear a little bit of a crunchy noise if that was glass fiber. But it's still very strong. And you can see how the latch works once you put it in there, and then you can adjust the angle and tighten it where you want it, which is nice. It's a nice design, built well. I expect it to hold up for a while. The only things I can see going wrong are possibly the power cord, because the power cord is, in my opinion, the only detriment to the whole thing. It's, I mean, it's fine, it's adequate, but you can see right here, it's 0.82 millimeter 18 gauge wire. This doesn't draw a lot of power. Let's see, 40 watts at 120 volts. So what's that? 300 milliamps. Amps times volts equals watts. So 40. No, 3. Sorry, 3 amps. No, I can't do my math now. 120 divided by, yeah, so 0.3. So 300 milliamps this thing draws. If I'm wrong on that, I'll change it in the editing, but I'm pretty sure I'm doing my math right. Because amps times volts equals watts. So if we have 120 volts and 40 watts, so 40 divided by 120, yeah, it's like 3 and some change. Oh, I know. Oop, as I knock the camera around. I should be able to do this in my head, and I think I am, but I'm also possibly having cognitive stall. So let's see, 40 divided by 120 is 0.33333 repeating, like I said, so about 334 milliamps it draws, which is plenty using 18 gauge wire. That will support that no problem. Just this is kind of thin wire, you know, it's not, doesn't have a polarized plug. Not like it matters, that's not polarized. You know, it's one of those A8, C8, I'm trying to remember that. C8, I think. But that Sony style plug, that's my only complaint. I actually have an older Epson projector cord that's the same connector, but it's a little thicker and, you know, a little bit nicer wire. But this one I'm sure would be fine. I'm just being picky because of me. So let me get the drill. Let's see, it has Phillips, I hope. Yep. Oop. Here, a little screw. Alright, so got the screws out. Most of them actually stayed in the plastic, which is fine. And let's see, what comes apart? How does this open? We took those screws out. Alright, let's get these 3 out of the way. And then I guess we'll take this part off. No? That's staying? I guess so. I guess we'll find out why. Because those are all out. Let's put just a little knife in between the seam. There we go. Yeah, so the reflector is going to pop off the front. The diffuser is going to come off the front. I think that will probably give us access. And it looks like the controls are going to go with it. Pop those knobs off. Oh, I see. Those nuts have to come off. And we'll just get a little Phillips head. That'll be enough to start it. I thought these might be plugged into a wire. You know, just have a wire running to the board. But instead, it seems that they are probably directly wired. Yeah, we'll find out in a moment. Just going by how they feel. And looks like this label. Yep. Now, I am doing this so that you don't have to. Now, normally you wouldn't cut that sticker, but I will, because I do things for you guys. And not just because I want to see it apart too. Alright, so those are loose almost. This little sticker, just trying to peel it out of the way. Like that. Yeah, okay, we're almost there. A little more. There we go. Alright, so diffuser is off. Set that out of the way. And then here are all of the LEDs. Between me and you, that's pretty dang impressive. 360 LEDs. And they have resistors. Interesting. 0 ohm resistors. So they must have... I wonder if these panels are used in anything else. Because you can see they have 1, 2, there's 4 panels in here. And those panels are... What are they? They hook together in series. Let's see. So positive goes in here. And here. Oh, those are for the different colors. Okay. Cool white positive. Can't quite see that one. Actually, I wonder if they do it by changing the polarity, because the rest of these are just jumped together. There's no separate connection here. We just have wires going across. Oh, it's that cool silicone wire too. I like that stuff. But see, those just go across. So I bet what they're doing is one temperature is all positive and the other temperature is all negative. And then they have these in reverse polarity to each other, I bet. I can't really see the traces, but that might be the case. We will take out this panel, and that will let us see the power supply and controller. And I also want to look at, oh, there's nuts, that's why. Okay. I was trying to figure out why this wouldn't come off, that little handle thing, but then you can see there's a big old nut in there. Alright, so we'll flip that out of the way. Here, let me zoom you guys in. Alright, let's pop this cover off. That paper out of the way. Oh yeah, wow, that's actually pretty impressive, that board. I mean, for what it is, this is just a, you know, I think this light was about 90 bucks. And I know they have more expensive ones and less expensive ones, but I think for the, you know, for the value, this one's pretty good. I didn't see anything else, you know, that struck my fancy. Let's see if we can get that out. I see a heat sink under it. See, I have the camera in front of me, and I'm trying to do this with my arms around the camera. Alright. Okay, so here, we'll flip it over. You guys can see the board. Oh, and they are on wires and plugged in. I can put those nuts back on the potentiometers. I probably will. I mean, I definitely will, but I might do it shortly. Let's look at the power supply. We have power coming in here. That's our AC. And it's coming off that switch. Once the power comes in from the AC, you can see we have a little fuse there. The fuse is a... I Can't tell. 1.3 amp maybe. I think that's what it's, 1 amp maybe. Doesn't matter. Then we have a TVR, and then we have a bridge rectifier. After the bridge, there is a MOSFET. So this is a switching supply, which makes sense. There's the switching controller driving the MOSFET. There's our transformer. And this is the output of the transformer over here. That is a voltage regulator, I believe. And then op amp maybe. Then transistor, you know, or a FET probably. Cool white positive, cool white negative, warm white positive, warm white negative. So how does that work? Let's see, warm white positive is going into here. Warm white negative is going into there. Oh, okay. So they're not doing some fancy positive negative back and forth thing. They just have two series circuits, it looks like, wrapping around the board. So the positive warm white goes in there, jumps out, jumps back. In fact, yeah. Oh, wait. Come on. Focus. Maybe? Yeah. Warm white positive, so on and so forth, all the way around to warm white negative. So they're just using a power for each color channel, color temperature, controlled through this circuitry over here. So it's probably these two transistors being driven by the those potentiometers. Because if we look at where those potentiometers are feeding, you got one leg coming out of the center heading over there from this one, and the other one's the same way. It's just running on the other side of the board. You can kind of see it right there. Pops through that hole into R28 and then into the rest of it. So kind of makes sense. Let's see, what was that one? Brightness? Let's see. Ah, that was color temperature. Okay, so this is brightness, the other one's color temp. So the brightness control, and that covers both of them, is that center lead going over to that resistor and then to that chip. So that's probably controlling all the power to these two. And then turning the other knob is probably balancing the input power between those two transistors, controlling the color temperature. So that's really it for the inside. It's well built. You know, like I said, for the cost, I was really surprised at, you know, how well it's made. I mean, for around $100, it should be pretty good no matter what. But you know, Amazon, you never know. Especially near Prime Day, when they do their garage sale every year. If you need some essential oil battery, some Anchor essential oil battery packs, or an Echo toothbrush or something. So anyway, I'm going to stop the video here, put this back together, and I'll be right back with you. And there, it's all reassembled now. It is ready to be installed. Just before we set it up, I'm going to plug it in one more time just to make sure I didn't break anything. Let's see. There we are. There's the brightness. Yeah, alright, looks good. Now let's set it up on its stand. So now that we're looking at the kitchen wall, I can show you the stand. I'm going to flip those legs around about there. That'll give it good stability. And then tighten this down well so it squeezes and makes that tight. Then, let's see, oops, didn't mean to pull that off. So let's put that one up. and that one, and you get the idea. So I'll put that actually down so we can see it, because next I install the gooseneck. Thing you have to make sure with the gooseneck is that this is out far enough so that it clears there. Now you can see there's a thread here, so you could actually screw your camera or stand right on there if you wanted, so that's just good to know. There we are. You can see it drops down all the way, and then just tighten that in well. It's nice and sturdy, not bad. Then magic, that goes on. Hopefully you can see the side there, because that is where that tightens onto, and you want that really strong, because then you can do that or do that, and then this. You know, there's all sorts of alignment options for you. Then you would install your camera, or in my case a phone, and then plug it in. And then we can install the phone, or or your camera, whatever you use. I'm going to use my phone. Oops, slide it over a little bit. And so let's see, actually I'm going to put set the color temperature where I want it, and let's turn the brightness up, and I'm going to put my hand in there, and then you can see how, that works really well. Gives a nice, yes, Wheezy. You know what, here's a cat. I was going to stand up there and be my model. And you can see how nice that color is. You can see it even looks good through this camera. Now hopefully going back and forth between these two, you'll see how nice it is. So you get the idea. It's a nice ring light. It's great for video. The the LEDs definitely throw off a nice light. The adjustable color temp is my favorite part. So if you want one, check the link below, and non-affiliate link. So I might put some up at some point, but for right now it's just a normal link. So go ahead and click that, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. But as always, thank you for watching. And Larry thanks you too.